Hey everybody, and welcome to The Poll, the show where we talk about the comics that came out yesterday, or whenever you're seeing this. Could be next week, but from this Wednesday.
Yeah.
As always, I'm joined by Joel from Cape Joel. I'm Tiffany
Hello.
from Comic Pop, and we got a lot to talk about today. I guarantee you, one of the books we were talking about today, we're going to have some spoilers, but the internet pretty much has spoiled it for everybody anyway, but just
Sure did.
kind of heads up on that one. I will kind of alert you to when we get to that. So yeah. So let's just get into it. Jill, you had at least two number ones on your list this week, and like one of them I was like, really?
Yeah, I know, right? Well,
So-
here's the thing. It was supposed to be Spider-Man, but there
Uh-huh.
was no Renew Your Vows this week, and I'm tired of getting upset about Spider-Man every week. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to shake it the hell up. I'm going to put something new in here is what I'm going to do.
Fair enough. If you want to go first, Joel, why don't we talk about Darth Vader #1, which is funny because
Yes.
the last time I heard about Darth Vader was in the other series that everybody really liked. I read a little bit of it, but I guess we're back to #1 for him.
Yes, we are. It was probably one of the boldest choices Marvel did with their ownership of the Star Wars titles, that they actually ended Karen Gillan's Darth Vader run when they did. I'm like, really? They're ending that? I thought they'd run forever with it. But for once, they actually do justify why this needs to be a new #1. This is Charles Soule, who hilariously has written the bulk of these new Star Wars minis. I don't know how he keeps getting so lucky that he keeps getting them. He must have a lot of good pitches. But where the Karen Gillan Darth Vader book took place after A New Hope, and it was all about Vader eventually figuring out that Luke was his son, and them kind of retconning events and doing stuff like that in this new Disney continuity. This Darth Vader comic takes place after the events of Revenge of the Sith. In fact, it literally, I'm not shitting you, Tiffany, it opens up right on the big no moment from the
Why?
end of that.
Why? Like, look, I get it. It happened, and some people like those movies, and that's totally fine. But like, you don't have to highlight that. You don't.
Well, here's
you don't have to.
It's like Soul was challenging himself. It's like, look, I will retcon this scene. I will actually take it back. Because here's the thing: Vader does his big no, realizes that the Emperor has turned him into like a creepy cyborg man, and he
Uh-huh.
tries to kill him with the Force. And Palpatine's like, no, we're not having any of that. I'm more powerful than you, and if you ever touch me again, I swear I'm gonna kill you. But you know what? It's okay. We're gonna have fun adventures right now.
It's not for me. I'm just gonna say it right now. That's not for me. Like, I think I'm one of those people. I don't think it doesn't matter. Like whatever you think about the prequels, like it, don't like it, whatever. I have come to realize I never wanted to know where Darth Vader came from. I really didn't. It turns out I didn't want that. I never
Oh.
wanted it. Good, bad. I don't care. I liked where he was, and then they just were like, nah, let's just tell you everything. I don't want to know how the chicken McNuggets are made, okay? I just want to eat the chicken McNuggets, okay?
Oh, if that bothers you, Tiff, this might give you a goddamn aneurysm, because guess what the big marching order of this is? Essentially what this first arc is all about is explaining how Darth Vader got his red lightsaber, because obviously he lost his original in the fight with Obi-Wan,
Okay.
and that became a big thing. And he asked the question, or basically he doesn't ask the question, the Emperor just tells him this, and that is, hey, you ever wonder why the Sith have red ones when everyone else has different colors? And he says it's because the Kyber crystals are alive and filled with the Force as with anything else, and when a Sith is able to pour in his pain, his anger, and his rage into a Kyber crystal, it bleeds and turns a shade of red. But here's the thing.
I'm just gonna go now. I
You're
can't
done.
hear anything anymore, and I have to leave because I can't anymore. I can't. We have to stop everything in life now.
Oh no, I broke Tiffany. This led to something funny though, because again, Charles Soule is writing the new lore, and this is all canon now in the new Disney Marvel thing. Someone was, of course, very quick to write Charles Soule and go, okay, if these are the new rules, then why is Mace Windu's purple? If this is the case, what did he pour into his lightsaber to make it purple? And I think Charles Soule had like a catty remark, being like, "Oh well, he was a big Prince fan. He put that into his lightsaber."
You know, like like, why? Can there be nothing that, like, doesn't need an explanation? Can't we just have things and be like, sure, why not? We accept stuff all the time! Just,
So the crux of the story is Vader needs a new lightsaber, and the Emperor says, I can't give you one. It needs to be taken, because that's what Sith do. Little difficult, though, because after Order 66, we've killed all the Jedi, so he drops them off on a backwater world with no weapon, and basically says, go find and kill this particular Jedi, but use only your bare hands and the Force, essentially.
Cool! Very cool. So, we're never going to talk about that with me here again.
I broke Tiffany in the first one.
I'm just so, I can't. Like, we don't, like, just tell cool stories. You don't have to explain something every time. We could just have a story. It's okay to just go on an adventure.
The ironic thing is that this is probably the most lore-heavy of all these Star Wars miniseries we've had so far. Most of the time, they are what you're saying. They're just a fun adventure, and every so often they'll drop a couple Easter eggs in there. Even the Darth Maul one they've been doing is actually quite fun, because they bring back Aurora Singh, and they bring back Cad Bane, and they even do a little Rebels connection, because you get to see the big mass Sith graveyard with the tri-pointed lightsabers, and I'm like, oh wow, they're actually tying this all together. It was funny that this Vader book's like, nope, go in the other direction.
Yeah. You know what it is? Like, like, I get it. Like, creatives, like, we want to put a mark on things. Like, it's like, yeah, I did this, and, like, knowing that this would be canon, Charles Soule's like, I am making a difference in this.
Yeah.
But, like, you don't, like, just tell a good story. You don't have to do that. Like, are we gonna find out where Palpatine gets his robes from next? Like, what's that
I
like?
hope so. He probably buys them wholesale. He probably gets a great deal. He knows someone.
It's either he has the one. He has one. And he never washes it. He never takes it off. And we're all very thankful for that. We really are. Because he's got to, like... I can't even imagine what he smells like.
There's a whole planet of grandmas that just knit Sith robes all day, every day.
Right. Well, there's just going to be a new comic just called The Tailor of Palpatine. And it's just about his... It'll be a little mini-series about what it's like to work for the Emperor. And what he really knows.
There's also a backup story in this issue. You know those like little mouse bots that are always driving around the Death Star and everything?
I love those. The ones that go beep, 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 beep.
Then skip the main story, read the backup, because it's a cartoony little Tom and Jerry story about them.
Do I really want... Do I want that?
It's really cute looking, actually. It's actually quite cute. If you read nothing else, check that. Like if the actual story bugs the crap out of you, like, oh, hey, look, they're doing a little comedy.
But then I'd have to give them my money, and I don't want to do that, because they won't understand that I'm supporting the mousebots. Hashtag mousebots.
Mousebot revolution.
You can do it. We're doing it now. All right. So Darth Vader #1. It's not for me. That doesn't mean it's not for someone else. It's just that's very much not for me.
If you've dug Charles Soule's other Star Wars stories, you'll probably like this one too. There's some really cool images in it.
That's fair. That's totally fair. Again, like I recognize that's not written for me. It's for somebody, and I hope they like it. And if they don't, then what are you doing, Marvel Disney? What are you doing?
As Cape Guy's saying, the whole Kyber Crystal thing, that isn't actually a Charles Soule's idea. Apparently that was from the expanded universe. He's reintroducing it into the canon books now. Oh, okay.
Oh, no, that is. I'm sorry, I missed you saying that. I think I took my headphones out at that point. Yes, no. The Kyber Crystals have been around for quite some time.
No, I'm saying the bleeding Kyber Crystal thing, that apparently that's an idea they're bringing back.
Can they do that? Are they allowed to do that?
They've been doing that a bunch with Admiral Thrawn and Rebels and everything.
But they threw it all out. You can't just,
Well, they're ultimate universing it. We threw out the stuff we didn't like, but we're slowly but surely working back in the stuff we did like.
More than that.
What did they change?
Well, in Splinter of the Mind's Eye, the Kyber Crystal was originally a force-amplifying singular crystal that Vader and Luke both used to amplify their force powers. How Luke managed to defeat Vader on that planet in Splinter of the Mind's Eye.
Yeah, I know, but
But then later they used that name. The crystals for lightsabers were originally called something else.
Well, yeah,
and then
but
in
then
the
they...
post
But, like, nobody likes Splinters of the Mind's Eye, so, they just kind of threw that away.
But they liked the name of the crystal.
Oh, yeah.
So they used that
again. Maybe they should have just changed the spelling just slightly.
Right? But, like, make it confusing, whereas, like, well, it's crystals in Star Wars, so whatever.
Yeah, and the fact is they've already thrown out Splinters of the Mind's Eye.
Right.
Which sucks, and they also threw out, Shadows of the Empire, which also sucks.
I will say, by the way, the comic book adaptation of Splinter of the Mind's Eye is way better.
Well, I'm sure pretty much anything's way better than that book. That was like...
It's the first expanded universe novel.
I know, but I read Shadows of the Empire first, and then I read Splinters of the Mind's Eye, and that was a disaster. I read
Splinter first because it was like a 90-page novella.
Yeah, alright, I'm sorry. Sal and I are just talking about Star Wars. That's just life.
I'm loving every second of this. Thanks, Sal.
That is...
I like his Star Wars senses were tingling. It's like, I'm doing other work, but I hear Star Wars is getting talked about, so I gotta get on
that's trust me, that is what it's like to work in the comic pop office, is you just talk about Star Wars, unless Ben's here. And then he's like, I don't know. Alright, so Darth Vader #1, if you guys are into that kind of thing, go pick it up. I'm gonna be skipping this one. I'm gonna pretend
because it gave you a little bit of an aneurysm.
I'm a little, whoo, yeah. Let's move on to, let's talk about the other #1 you read. Secret Empire, Brave New World #1. Clearly having to do with the novel it's named after, of course, right?
Yes, it's all about that. All you literary fans out there, all you kids in English class, you get to now cite this because it's talking about Brave New World.
That's right. Enjoy that. Putting that in your reports. Try searching for things now.
so yeah, and then Namor came.
Yeah. But English teachers everywhere are going to be really confused.
They sure are. So, I mean, as with every big Marvel super event, they always do this. There's always one book that ends up being an anthology book where it's like, hey, here's some stories that were too short to, warrant their own mini or their own tie-in, but we're putting them here, and we're kind of used as a test ground that if people like it, we'll spin it out into other things. And basically, the Brave New World, as it is talking about how the rest of the Marvel Universe is dealing with the takeover by Hydra.
Mm-hmm.
So the first and the longest of the stories actually involves, Jim Hammond, the original robot Human Torch, and his sidekick Toro, who is an Inhuman, heading on down to Atlantis to try and talk to their old war buddy Namor, who, of course, they were all in the Invaders together with Captain America, and they're trying to get him up to speed, being like, yo, America got taken over. And, like, I'm a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, and he's an Inhuman, and we're on Hydra's shit list. Can we hang out with you until the heat's off? And also, can you, like, maybe as a leader, like, rally your blue-skinned army to help us take back America?
I find it kind of hard to believe that Namor, like, has no, like, access to the news, like, to the surface-dwelling news. Like, you don't have internet in Atlantis? You don't have sea internet?
That's the thing. He's actually super aware what's going on. Okay. In fact, they make a lot of allusions because as soon as they show up, Namor starts making a million excuses as to why he can't help. Where he's like, oh, geez, I'd like to help, but, like, you're heroes. I'm a king and a leader, and I can't put Atlantean lives on this, or, people won't respect me more.
And I gotta wash my hair, and I gotta get my wings cleaned. And
he does everything short of I gotta wash my hair. Cable guy's coming at noon.
Yeah. Well, he's coming from anywhere between noon and the next 5 years. I don't know when, so I gotta be here.
And basically what they essentially turn Namor into, it's like, this is 1940, and he's the French, is what it is. Because as we find out, Namor and Atlantis have set up, like, a non-aggression treaty, and that is, you don't mess with us, we don't mess with you. And of course, the Human Torch and Toro are really sickened by that, where it's like, wow, you used to be an invader, now you're a collaborator, way to go, dude. But he keeps piling it on. He's like, look, it's actually way more complicated than that. You see, some of my most fervent believers have a religious prophecy that what's going on with the Secret Empire right now will actually bring about the destruction of the entire surface world. And then we Atlanteans will get to rise up and take over. So politically, I can't really do anything. And furthermore to that, now that you know this, I can't let you leave.
So,
yeah.
Thanks, Namor. Like, thanks. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for, yeah.
Thanks for jerking up my day. But here's where things actually get confusing, because if you'll remember, if you read Secret Empire #3, which I think you did, we see the failed invasion of Atlantis by the Hydra Avengers. They end up blowing up a religious temple, and it's implied that, well, you just started a war on two fronts now with Namor. They don't say if this story takes place before or after. I can only assume it takes place before to make any sense.
Right. That's true. So here's a terrible joke. Thanks, Brain. So if Namor succeeded in taking over and essentially like got rid of Hydra and like maybe like put his own forces in charge of that, would they then be Hydro? I'm a go. That was not good.
Whackity schmackity too.
Yeah, that was not. No.
If we were a morning zoo show, that's where we would put the laugh track, the canned laugh.
Right, and then no. Don't. Okay. Anyway, so all right. So what else?
So that was the first and the longest. It was okay. The other two were much shorter, a lot less substantial, but I would argue a lot more enjoyable. The middle child of it, we actually get to check on in with the new giant man, Raz, who we saw get established in the pages of Nick Spencer's own Astonishing Ant-Man. He's a lovable loser, this guy, much like Scott Lang, much like most of the Ant-Man.
Right.
He's former tech support turned superhero. Scott was training him how to be the new giant man, but then Scott left because that's what Scott Lang does. He's a total flake.
Okay.
So Raz had to end up crashing with Machine Smith and Grizzly in Miami, but they end up getting kicked out of their place because the two supervillains haven't been paying rent. And now they need work, which means they're going to go work for Zemo and the new Masters of Evil, which means they're trapped under the dome now.
Okay.
And Raz is forced to go home to his small town in America where Hydra troops have already taken over, but we get to meet his family, and his family is super awesome. His dad is like a veteran of 2 wars, and he's like, I came to America to make a better life for my family, and I'm not going to bow down to any lime green assholes like you Hydra troopers suck it. And I'm like, dude, Dad is awesome. And he has 2 sisters, one's sporty and one's gothy, and I like them both very much. And then he turns into Giant Man and he saves his family, and then Scott ends up showing up, picking them up, and they go and join the Resistance, and that's that story. It's a total backdoor pilot for a new Giant Man book. I'd read it.
Okay, that's cool.
That was nice. And the last one is by far the shortest, and ironically it's a like a comedy take. It's Gwenpool, who has been taken hostage by the Hydra media, and they're forcing her now to regurgitate their propaganda on TV, but she's having no part of it, so she tries to undermine them on television and eventually escape.
Okay. All right.
It's very Looney Tunes, like political cartoon.
Gotcha. All right. So I know they played around with this kind of like multiple story when they did Secret Wars, like where you get like a book that just has these little mini tales.
Civil War had it too.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think of the concept? B, what do you think of this one in particular?
I mean, it makes sense. You know, you want to see how your event affects the whole world and all the characters, and there's only so much time in so many books.
Right.
Is this necessary? No, not at all. But if you like Namor and you like the new Giant Man and you like Gwenpool, you'll probably enjoy this one too. And I get the feeling that Marvel does use these as kind of like testers, you know, to kind of like test the waters of like, oh, maybe if this particular issue sells well, maybe we'll do something new with these characters. Maybe we'll, you know, give them their own standalone.
Okay. That's cool. That's pretty cool. All right. So, are you going to keep reading this?
Probably not, just because I have enough Secret Empire stuff as it is. But if there's like a particular character I really want to see how they'd react to the Secret Empire, I guess I'd give it a try.
All right. So there you go. So, Joel, are you going to keep reading this for us?
I mean, if you want me to, I can. I mean, I'm sure I can take this.
Only if you want to. What I always dug about these is that, like, you don't have to read all of them. You can pick up those that might interest you if you hear about stories that are coming up in them, just to essentially, like, be like, all right, I want this one short story, but I don't have to worry about, like, getting the whole run. If it falls off my radar or whatever, you don't lose out on that. So you might just get, like, a fun single story or just something you might be, you know, just want to test it. So
It's also a nice proving ground, too, for some of their more untested writers. I know Paul Allore wrote the first, like, big one with Namor, and obviously I've heard of him. People in the chat have probably heard of him, but he's not, like, a big household name yet.
Right,
I had no idea the people who wrote the other two, so it's a nice testing ground for writers, too.
That's awesome. All right, so there you go. That was Secret Empire, Brave New World #1. Gee, you think they could maybe, like, shorten some of these names? Like, just,
a little
like,
long.
A little bit? Like, I get it.
It's a little unruly.
I get it. You got to call it Secret Empire just so that make sure everybody goes out and buy it, but it's still it's kind of it's a bit much. So all right, so from Marvel, let's journey on over to DC. Not for the thing that everybody wants us to talk about, presumably, but for something else. We'll get there. We will get there, guys. Trust me. And when we get there, we'll be there. Superman number 24 came out this week, and yeah, we learned a lot, I think. We got a little backstory about the origins of the folk from Hamilton, essentially.
Surprising.
Yeah, exactly. We get to see a very familiar scene from a previous issue, essentially, of...
in a new light.
Yeah, exactly. Just with a couple of different characters, essentially. But we see Kathy and her grandfather in their, like, regular kind of alien form.
Yes, we see their final forms.
Yeah, exactly. So they essentially, they're in the midst of like a sort of, I want to say like a space battle, because it's kind of what it looked like to me, and they are in a position where they need the help from Manchester Black, and it comes down to like him, I assume it's just his tactic to sway children, but it's almost like a test run.
Yeah, for what he's going to do with John. I really dig this interpretation of Manchester Black, where he's this ultimate, like, Faustian devil on your shoulder type thing, where it's like, look, my whole elite shtick didn't work on Earth and with Superman, so I took my show on the road to space to find other people to recruit to my cause.
He's working on his Type 5, and, like... And honestly, it ends up working out for him, though he does seem to indicate that he didn't know that he had a child. So, maybe not that, but still. So anyway, that's just a quick flashback. It just kind of explains as to why they're there, why they're working with him. They do kind of feel beholden to him because he did, like, save those who were left. And then, essentially, we cut back to Earth, where Lois is in the hospital, obviously. Spoilers for those who didn't catch the previous stuff, but Lois now is only... she's a one-legged lady. She has lost
snipped.
Her leg from, like, mid-thigh down. We don't see that. We don't see what has happened. We don't see if there's any healing process going on. She is seemingly in a regular standard hospital, not some sort of... like, not anywhere where I would think that Superman might actually take her to actually solve this problem.
No super hospital.
Yeah, exactly. But, he goes off because immediately she's like, where's John? And he's like, I kind of had to take care of you because you didn't have a leg. Like, he's our kid, but he technically has superpowers, and you were missing an entire appendage. An entire one.
Trust me, I'll get him. I'm Superman. I always do.
I'll be there. So, Superman goes back. He starts, like, ripping up areas in Hamilton, finding out, like, there's, like, just this whole, like, massive, like, maze of tunnels and cables beneath the surface. And as he's doing that, Superboy just shows up. He's just like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, that they let me go. Go figure.
Yeah, hey, Dad. It's cool. And I'm in my little suit, and, like, what's happening? And, like, Superboy, like, it's interesting because immediately, of course, Superman, like, wants to hold him and comfort him and like, take care of him. But John recoils from him, and seemingly because of what has happened to Lois. Like, not that, like, he is afraid of his father, but seemingly, like, his, like, faith in him is slightly shaken.
Yeah, which is what Manchester wanted to do.
It's exactly what he wanted him to do. And, of course, Manchester is not far behind him. And immediately Superman just releases his heat vision or his heat rays right into him. And Manchester is, like, kind of showing off his powers a little bit. He immediately halts those beams and lights a cigarette.
He pulls a Kylo Ren. He just stops it dead.
He totally does. And then, but he's got to take it a level further. He's got to light a cigarette on them because that's what you do when
he's
you're
such a
Black.
He's such a wonderful piece of shit, Manchester Black,
Really
and when
is.
everyone else is like so angry and over the top, he's just endlessly cool and collected. It's interesting too from a canon standpoint. Superman is sure to say, Manchester Black, it's you. I know you. I've met you before. We've had adventures. He doesn't mention that he looks different, that he looks older and crazier too. I'm like, okay, what continuity are we pulling from here? Are we pulling from the Teen Titans continuity where he was a villain for a little bit? Or are we pulling from like the original, all the old Superman villains remember themselves? Because people forget this. Manchester Black killed himself in 2002 in a storyline, and then we just never saw him again until the movie and until now.
To be fair, though, with the attitude he has in this, I would take it as he was just like, it happens. Dust yourself off and just keep going.
Yeah, maybe that black goop brought him back to life. We don't quite know the story on that.
We definitely don't know what's going on with that. But he definitely has like a kind of like he's pushing all the right buttons. Of course, the two of them go at it. Superman is seemingly at a disadvantage for a moment, but that's fine because Krypto's nearby.
Sick'em, great panel.
Right? It's amazing. But of course, the black. Oily, goopy stuff, gets a hold of Superman. He resurrects the cat.
So just to mess with him.
But, like, only as a skeleton. Just, like, here, check out your failure, kid. There you go. Little...
Nice callback, though. I appreciate that from a continuity standpoint.
But, like, man, if you're trying to influence people and make friends with this kid, for me, that's not the way to do it. I'm just saying, right? So, Superman, eventually, like, just busts out, thanks to, of course, to, Kathy and her grandfather showing up, and, because, like, the grandfather at this point, he's starting to realize, he's just like, Manchester Black is just kind of a jerk, and, like, I don't think we are that indebted to him, and I think
we bet on the wrong horse.
That's exactly it. This is exactly it. So,
which is kind of nice for him. I hope that they're ultimately redeemed in the end, because as they've shown, they're not really that bad. They were in with the wrong group, but they're certainly not evil, and they've helped more than they've hurt up until this point.
Like, but Grandpa's kind of in a bad way, and like, she's no better right now. She does try to attack him, and she does distract him long enough for Superman to get out and, of course, break all the tubes and release everyone else that Manchester Black has collected, essentially, including Frankenstein and his wife, and Batman and Robin. So pretty much, like, they are ready to go. It's like this little, like, mini...
Batman has an amazing quote in this episode. It's like, the bad guy, it's the guy dressed in black, right? Isn't it always?
Yeah. I love that Damien's annoyed by that. She's like... Nah, come on, like, have a little originality, all right? Thank you so much.
Our villains are much more colorful.
Exactly. Like, oh, sure, yeah, you tried real hard today. Manchester Black, of course, answers or retaliates with his own grouping of individuals, including that of Superboy, who he's taken over the mind of, and, like, essentially, like, uses the black goo to, like, take him over, and I guess utilize him in a sense. So we now have...
Shin Superboy, violent Superboy.
Yeah, we have, like, what they're calling Superboy Black, at least for the next issue.
How very Dragon Ball Super, huh?
Right?
Someone was a fan, or at least someone through osmosis that got in their head.
Right? So, it's I am interested to see where this goes, to see what kind of long-term ramifications, if any, that this really has. Because they do keep talking about the future, and that the future needs Superboy more than Superman. So I'm really interested to see where this goes. Especially because it is pitting father against son.
I loved this issue to pieces. This might be my favorite issue of this storyline so far.
I agree. I think this is, this has been really good. It's, and of course I'm interested to see if they hang on to the Lois Lane injury. Like, how long will that last, or what will they end up doing about that? So it'll be, I think no matter what, it's not like it's going to stop Lois. Like, no matter what, like, I don't think that that's the thing that's going to, like, prevent her from being Lois Lane. So
I hope she gets an awesome robot leg. I hope Batman's like, I reconstituted this piece of the Hellbat armor. Now you've got a wicked leg.
Yeah, right? She could be like, what is it, Cherry Bomb or whatever from...
Yes. You got it.
From Grindhouse.
Rockets and a flamethrower and everything.
Yeah, it'll be awesome. It'll be sweet. She'd be her own superhero. Yeah. She'd be like, move over, Cyborg.
Yeah, I'm basically a cyborg already.
So... Superman number 24, I think we both had a really good time with it. Not the best place to probably pick up for this arc. You probably have to go back a couple of issues to kind of get what's going on. At least maybe one issue to really kind of understand what's happening. And from there, just keep on going on and on. It'll be awesome and totally cool.
Can I mention, too, I was kicking around the theory the last time we talked about this book. I thought Kathy had to be related to Manchester Black's sister Vera in some way because they had the same blonde hair, the same sort of psychic powers, and all the other stuff. I'm a little disappointed that's not the case, but the fact that Manchester Black is in this might mean we see Vera at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally could. All right, so let's stick around in the DC universe and talk about Green Arrow number 24. Yeah. A lot of 24s coming out this week.
Sure are.
A whole 2 years of this going now. Well,
this was the big finale.
You know what I mean? Like, not really, but in my head, I always want to make these like literally like not like monthly in our book, but like I don't know. I like to think that longer has happened.
It fits better in your mind. And
it
again,
does. It makes it like I don't know. Like it makes it feel like because so much has happened for me. Like it makes it feel like more monumentous. Like,
and definitely some books play fast and loose with how much time takes place. And definitely with another book we're going to talk about this week, they definitely put a bow on the first year of stories.
Yes, no, that's very true. And like some, I like you said, like I think some of them handle the amount of book over the time that they've had a little bit better than others have in a way. So I think it's just, and I'm, again, with this being like 24 and a lot of these being like twice a month kind of things, I'm interested to see where we go from here because I know some of the writers, at least one, it's like they can't keep up. They don't like the pace. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm interested to see how things progress from here on out. Like, are they going to stick with this? Are they going to change it up? Who knows? But all right, Green Arrow 24.
Yes, this is the big finale of the Rise of Star City storyline. Seattle has been put away. Quite literally, they blew up the Seattle spike in the previous issue, and now doesn't
Seattle need that?
I'm sure they'll be fine. just like I'm sure of Toronto, if you blew up the CN Tower, we'll be fine. We'll have a new big building to look at. It's fine.
But Seattle's still got its trolls, so there you go. And then by that I mean actual bridge troll statues, not internet ones.
But yeah, so what is it? The Ninth Circle, this evil cult made up of a bunch of Green Arrow villains. They destroyed the Seattle spike, and they're ready to bring about this great prophecy, the rise of the Star City, which of course Star City was the city that Green Arrow always lived in, which it's kind of funny that basically that's what this story was all about. It's getting Green Arrow back to his roots, back to his original city. Nightwing just had to move away from Chicago and move away from Gotham to Bloodhaven. Here they literally destroyed Seattle to make it Star City. There's something kind of funny about that.
They're like, literally this just sounds like they're like, we can't come up with a better reason for him to leave.
So we just destroyed it. Just destroy the whole city.
It's fine. The Seattle people, they're really, grassroots kind of people. They'll just build up from the ashes. It's totally okay.
They're laid back. They're fine with it. But they actually do have a pretty good justification for it, because obviously one of the members of the Ninth Circle is the evil Mayor Domini, who, as he puts it, the city needs to rise because, he's a corrupt politician and everything, and it'll rise as the first ever, corporate-owned city. So, Queen Industries now controls the city entirely. And it's because of this, Green Arrow, who's been living undercover, he left the Oliver Queen identity behind, mainly because he was framed and seemingly murdered, and it seemed like a good thing to not have to come back from the dead.
That was an amazing sentence, that he was framed and seemingly murdered. He was both framed and potentially murdered.
Oh man, freaking Broderick, the leader of the Ninth Circle, man, he left nothing out. He set up another boat thing because, as we know, Oliver Queen loves boats. Killed his secretary and then dumped a bunch of drugs all around everywhere just to really rub it in.
Nah, this guy's really guilty. It's just again, it's an orgy of evidence. At some point, cops have to go okay, this is way too much evidence. Either this guy is the dumbest guy ever, or, and hear me out here, someone set him up.
Hey, it's not the first time an Oliver Queen booze cruise went wrong. Maybe they're like, he's at it again. He rebounded. But yes, so Oliver has to go deep into the bowels of the city, into the catacombs, and, confront his own family's dark connection to the Star City and the Ninth Circle cult. His grandfather started the thing, actually. So this is a whole thing that he's having to confront. Oh, his grandpa's name is Robin Queen, interestingly enough, and his cult robes are green with a hood and everything, and his symbol was the bow. And I'm like, all right, they're doing a whole circular thing here. But the big conclusion of this is that to try and save the city, Oliver Queen realizes Green Arrow can't do it. Only he can do it, so he re-reveals himself to the public. Hey, I'm alive. I'm the rightful owner-operator of Queen Industries, and I'm going to try and save the city. And then the comic ends with him being dragged away by the police, because it's like, well, dude, you're still actually wanted on a murder rap, so, we're probably going to have the trial of Green Arrow here, and you're going to have to prove you didn't do this stuff.
Right. All right. Maybe they'll just do, like, a kind of a Daredevil thing where they'll put him in jail, and he'll have to fight his way.
Oh, then you could have Supermax. I would love that, actually. That's a great Green Arrow story they kept almost making into a movie.
Right. It's right there. Come on.
Do it.
Just try it. Just do something else. That way that way they can come out and Seattle's like, we're good. Please don't come back here. We, the people of Seattle, have asked that you not. We're okay.
Do this. But please come back for SDC next year. It's always a fun time.
Right. No, that's okay. You can come back for any cons. Yeah, no, you're good for that. But otherwise, like the disaster follows you, and we're good.
It really does. But yeah, it was a fun issue. I liked it. I've been following the Ben Percy Green Arrow run. It definitely gives me what I personally want from it. I don't know if this story will go down as some sort of classic, but as like a completionist and as a purist, I'm definitely glad to see Green Arrow finally return to Star City, much in the same way Dick Grayson returned to Bloodhaven and everyone else kind of got their stuff back.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No, that's. It's funny because it's like with the Nightwing one going to Bloodhaven, like that's less like like leave a real city and like screw that. Like this for me, like I get it and like I know it's exciting for him to go back there. It's just kind of weird for them to have gone all in on Seattle and then be like, all right.
Yeah. And then work their way back out of it. It is weird.
Yeah, like in that way. Like again, I'm glad he's going back, but like yeah.
and to also destroy a real city too is kind of funny because that was the villain's plot where it's like, we'll completely undermine the entire city and we'll basically make a plague happen. We'll have all 7 plagues hit it at once because this is part of our weirdo prophecy. And in the end, it's just so we can change the city's name.
Right, and like nobody else showed up. Like no other superheroes were like, hey, what? I'm sorry, what is going on in Seattle?
It looks like the 4 horsemen are riding up on them right now. Say what?
All the superheroes like check their list. They're like, do we do about that? No. Constantine's like, I could help, but I just don't care.
Well, apparently in the next couple issues, they're finally going to answer the question, what is Green Arrow's connection to the Justice League? Because we see him riding away from Star City on his motorcycle, and the silhouette of the main Justice Leaguers are up above. And I'm like, what is his connection to them in this new DC Rebirth universe? Technically, Black Canary's closer to them than anyone.
Right. Well, trust me, I'm pretty sure they would be happy to have him since that book's not doing well.
Aw. You're not wrong.
So, all right. So, Green Arrow number 24 sounds like it's not the best place to be jumping on for Green Arrow, but maybe next issue? Question
sure.
mark? Would that
probably
be better, potentially? Who knows, depending on how things go. But if you're excited for Green Arrow, then you should go back a few issues, right?
I'm always excited for Green Arrow.
I know you are. So much so that if you start talking smack about Green Arrow in the Discord, Joel will show up. He'll just show up, man. I
appear. My ears start burning and I appear.
Exactly.
In a puff of smoke.
Yeah. It's like a million souls cried out and we're suddenly silenced. He just shows up. So, all right, so from DC, we're going to take a quick detour before going back to DC on over to Marvel, where we talk about Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange, man. Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Number 20, guys. Number 20. Don't be confused. Number 21 did come out last week or the week before that. they did change up the order of these because of the event that is going on. So the tie-in for Strange had to come out. So we have that happening last week, which was, for me, I don't think that's fair to do to Dennis Hopeless. Because last week he wrote the tie-in. He wrote the tie-in for it. So everyone's first introduction to his, or my at least introduction to his Doctor Strange was in a tie-in. And for a quick review of that, I wasn't a fan of what he did with Strange.
No, you were telling me about it. You said the whole thing lacked a lot of focus on Doctor Strange. It was all the other people under the dome.
It did, and he also he writes a very different Doctor Strange, so I think I'm just going to have to try the next issue, which is issue 22, which is seemingly picking back up with what was going on in 21, which makes sense, unless you're reading it right now, upon which it won't make any sense. This issue kind of wraps up Bachalo's and Aaron's run. I'm sad to see it go. I really enjoyed this issue. He sets up a lot of things that I do question if we are going to see resolved in what Hopeless does, because technically you're handing it off to another writer. That writer really has the right to do whatever they kind of want with it and tell their own stories, while hopefully paying some attention to what is going on. But he sets up a lot of stuff in this, in my opinion, a lot of potential things that he could explore if he wanted to, and I really wish that Aaron was exploring these, but that is not to be. It basically opens with Strange going to a mystical auction where only familiars can go. Yeah, nice. They have those apparently. You just go to one of. I gotta find me one of them.
We got 40, we got 50, going once, going twice.
Except they don't bid stuff like that. They bid 5 eyes of a frog, or a million tears of humans, that kind of stuff. I'm
Eye of Newt.
Clearly they all know what that means and the ranking of how worthy that is.
Man, what's the conversion rate on a place like this?
Right? I can't even imagine. The auction house is the House of Infernal Glories, which I was
nice.
That's funny.
That's a good name.
Only familiars can go, so it's just filled with animals. So it's goats and birds and all that stuff. And there's wand goes up, and it's the wand that Rasputin used or whatever, and basically this dog wanders in and it's just I'm gonna have that, and I'm gonna wager all your teeth, the teeth of every person in this room, whatever it takes, I'm getting that wand. And then pretends, essentially puts on airs that they're I'm the familiar of this warlock who's also a werewolf, and so
Way to multi-class, dude.
Yeah, exactly. What is up with that, and they're I'm pretty sure that he's imprisoned in the dark dimension. The dog's right, should have known that. I put him there. And it's Doctor Strange. He has an illusionary spell on. You get this amazing panel though of Doctor Strange as a dog holding the wand, using his tail to shoot magic. A little I was just hooray! That's stupid. Strange, of course, makes a grand getaway. Everyone's after him. While doing that, we return to, some of Bachalo's original stuff in one of the very first issues, where he runs to a chick and he just starts, making out with her real quick. He's just all right, yeah, but I gotta go, though. Because, you're hot and everything, but I'm gonna die.
Places to be.
Exactly. So he busts down. He's just I need this because I can't let them have it, because there's so little magic left in this world, and to leave something this powerful with someone else, that's irresponsible of me. So I have to grab this. Jumps on the back of Zelma's bike. They take off, being followed by magma men, who end up knocking them into a place he doesn't want to go, because they are I think they're in Barbados. So he ends up throwing them into the Bermuda Triangle, because of course.
Uh-oh.
And in doing so, they, he gets hit by an arrow, which poisons him, because we knock him out for a little bit, and Zelma ends up landing, and they land in Weird World.
Ooh.
I was that's awesome!
I someone remembered Weird World, but of course Jason Aaron remembers Weird World. He wrote it.
Right, so Zelma, has to survive there for a little bit. She's trying to cure him of the poison, but, he's totally knocked out. They've been there for, she doesn't even know, because, she's no concept of the time there and how long it's been. The Magma Men are still on look for them because they want the wand and they want the head of the Sorcerer Supreme. They, of course, are working for Morgan Le Fay. So at this point, he's just dropping names. By the way, they dropped Malekith later, like earlier on. Like Aaron's like, I could have done all this cool stuff, and I'm like, yeah, please don't go.
Nice Malekith again, trying to connect it to his Thor thing he's doing right now.
Exactly.
That's what I like about Aaron's writing. All of his stuff connects in a weird way.
Right? Like, he tries to bring it all together. Zelma's trying to do magic, but of course she doesn't really know what she's doing with that. It makes her feel sick when she does it because there's a price to pay for doing magic. In the end, of course, like, the Magma Men, like, come upon them. She uses a spell kind of by accident and ends up taking the poison from his body and putting it into hers, which normally would kill her, but because she's been in weird world eating all the like bugs and stuff from there, like she's kind of taken on her own magical like antibodies, he calls them. So like that's fighting it off. So by the time he gets back, like the only way he can help her is by essentially giving her a bug, which seemingly gives her, like, the ability to see the magical world, and, like, the ramifications of that are something we don't quite understand yet, except that she has to eat the same crazy food that he does in order to fight off or stave off the effects of using magic and keep it balanced.
Which ties it all the way back to the very beginning of the series.
Oh, it sure does. And then it does one more thing that I'm like, I really wish that Jason Aaron was dealing with this, because I don't know if Hopeless is going to ignore it or keep going with it, especially in light of the fact that he has to deal... Like, Hopeless is dealing with what's going on in Secret Empire, so I don't know what's going to happen to this plot thread. But Wong is against this, and he's like, you can't do that. You're like, you're essentially, you're killing her that way. He's like, she's gonna die no matter what. And she ends up being like, whatever it is, just do it. I don't want it to go down like this. And so Wong, we have like a little narration by him where he's just like, I've devoted my life to magic and to Strange and to like being here with the Sanctum, and I don't have a wife and I don't have children and I don't have a life, and it's time to change that. And he packs up his bag and he leaves.
Ooh.
Like, he just leaves the Sanctum.
Holy shit.
And he's just like, the Sanctum will take care of you now. And he doesn't
That's pretty heavy.
He doesn't say goodbye to Strange. He just goes.
That's like breaking up Sherlock and Holmes, Batman and Robin.
I know, but Zelma now seemingly is taking over the role of his apprentice.
Oh.
Because she decides in the end that, like, he's like, once the poison's out of your body, he's like, we can put you back to normal. And she's like, I don't want to be that.
Interesting.
So this is where Aaron is leaving it.
Don't drop the ball, Hopeless.
I don't know, because Hopeless, again, he is stuck dealing with Secret Empire now, which I don't think that's fair to a creator to have them start off with that. In my opinion, they should have had an interim writer write the Secret Empire stuff and then let Hopeless come in and start his actual run.
It's usually a death sentence, as far as I'm concerned, for a lot of books where you have to start as a tie-in.
Yeah. But, it's one of those things where it's been a great run. I really enjoyed this, and I'm really, like, glad to have had it. And again, I'm going to keep going with Hopeless. I'm going to see what he's all about. Like I said, for the last issue that I read, I didn't care for what he was doing with Strange, but technically, it's his story and it's not his story. So yeah. I'm willing to give it a little bit longer until he really gets the groove.
All's in your court.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. So, I don't know. It's fun. This was fun. I enjoyed Aaron's run, and I just, love it. Just
Sounds
so good. And I gotta tell you, it's interesting. Halfway through this book, when they go to Weird World, there are changes.
Oh,
which I thought was kind of neat. Like, and we come back, we get the regular Bachelor art, which I'm also gonna miss. But I know the person, I can't remember their name, who's taking over art-wise. It's really cool looking. So it'll be neat. We'll see. I'm gonna stay positive.
It's so funny. You lost your you lost your Doctor Strange guy.
Yeah.
The rest of us lost our Old Man Logan guy and Jeff Lemire, and we're basically the same way. It's like, okay, come on, Ed Brisson, come on, Dennis Hopeless, don't let us down. Yeah,
that's it. That's all you have to do. But like, I do feel bad that where they have to start. So we'll see. Yeah. All right, guys. So something everyone was talking about this on the internet.
Something happened.
Something happened where people are like, Batman has changed forever. Batman forever.
Forever and ever?
Yeah.
Forever and ever, Batman forever?
Forever and ever, Batman forever. So we are about to talk about Batman 24. If it hasn't already been spoiled for you and you wanted to read it, I am going to warn you, we are going to talk about this at length. It is.
We have to.
It will have spoilers in it. If it's something you were saving for yourself, then you'll either have to mute us for a little bit and come on out and check out the end of the show, or we'll see you guys next time. Then it's up to you. But hopefully you stick around. So all right, Batman 24.
Yes. Yep.
Picking up from Batman 23. No, Batman 23, of course, included Swamp Thing and was just a little palate cleanser. And then we got into, it's pretty heavy.
Yeah, is it ever? It's another, what is it, Tom King Batman character study, character essay. But wait. Before your eyes glaze over, like I know mine did at first when I started reading it, because for the most part, my interpretation of Batman kind of seems to run the other direction than King's. I actually really liked what he had to say about Batman in this. It's in the fallout of the button. Yeah. It's in the fallout of I Am Bane, and Gotham Girl, she's back to normal now. She's got her head right.
Right. Yep. She's all fixed up. She's all taken care of. There were I felt like this was a strongly like written issue. I don't know if I agree with right now, like as a just my like initial kind of reaction to it.
Oh, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, and the fact is, like, it will probably, like, this is something to, I think, truly think about, like, does it really have long-term ramifications? If so, what are they? That kind of thing. But, like, my knee-jerk reaction was, I don't necessarily agree with his take, but, again, I thought it was well done.
Yeah, I know I've disagreed with a lot of his take, like, saying, but like, he makes Batman for a lot of his work, Tom King, look very ineffectual. He makes him look like a hypocrite. He makes him look like a crazy person, which arguably he is all those things, but he's also the best at what he does. But it's neither here nor there. It's funny. It's a lot of this issue just really involves Gotham Girl asking Batman for advice, being like, okay, so I'm back to normal now. I have these amazing powers. What do I do? Do I become a hero now? Do I start doing what you do? And Batman, who has shown a lot in daylight in this issue, which I thought is interesting, it's him just hanging out in the daylight and him saying, I can't tell you what to do. I can't make that choice for you. I can only talk from my own personal experiences. And fact is, being a superhero does make me miserable. It is a cross to bear. But I'm not Batman because I have to be. I'm Batman because I'm always Batman, no matter what I'm doing.
Right. There's just, like, it's just, really when it comes down to it, this is a version of Batman I've never considered.
He's almost too human.
A little bit, which is funny because, like, that's the point of him. He's the man among gods. But, like, he still is, like, in a sense, something beyond a man.
Yeah, when he becomes this human, and as I even said, like, this might actually be the most relatable I felt with Batman in a long time, but it's because if he gets too human and gets too relatable, you start to see how horribly irresponsible what he does is.
Yeah, no, it's very true. It is very true.
That's a freaking line that writers have been walking for 75 years, and Tom King's like, well, maybe we should go more in this direction, guys.
Yeah, no, it's true. And again, like, this is just, it's one of those things that I've never really thought about. Like, I have in my head what Batman is, and, like, Tom King is certainly making me question that. And like I said, I am not prepared to say, like, yay, nay, you know what I mean, to this, because it's been one issue of this kind of new version, which now I'm wondering upon rereading of past issues if it will change the interpretation of those.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I guess we should just kind of come out and say
let's just go for it. What happens in this issue?
Okay, so Claire basically says, it's like, look, if being Batman is so shitty for you, if being a superhero is so bad, do you do anything for yourself? Do you ever allow any joy into your life whatsoever? And this, like, hits Batman pretty hard, actually. He's like, you know what? No, I don't. Maybe it's time I change that. And he goes and he hunts down Catwoman and he proposes to her with the same diamond that Catwoman stole back during her first appearance in the Golden Age.
Of course, after they mimic the cover to Dark Knight.
Sure do.
Or like one of the not the cover, one of the pages from that. But that, like, I get it. There was a part of me that was really out of nowhere. You know, like, I don't know, I didn't see it coming. Like, even though...
No, I didn't either. And I'm rarely shocked.
Right? And I was just kind of like, okay. And, like, I guess in a way I felt like Catwoman in that moment. Because, like, who the hell knows what she's going to say? But part of it was like, okay, where do we go from here exactly? Because
not only do we not know what Catwoman's going to say, we won't know for a couple months because it's War of Jokes and Riddles for the rest of the summer.
That's true.
So this is going to be the Who Shot JR of Batman. What does Catwoman say? Does she say yes or no?
You know, like, it's so funny because, like, I truly believe this is just something Tom King wanted to do, right? Like, he wanted to do this. He wanted to explore this. It is not something that has been really explored.
No, he's got a bit of a boner for Catwoman. That's true. If nothing else, that answers my question. I'm like, why does Catwoman keep coming back in these stories when she has no real, story hooks in it? Oh, this is why.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But it's just funny because, like, on the one side of the fence, we have a company who's saying that a married superhero doesn't sell books. On the other side of the fence, we have a married Superman who is selling books like it's nobody's business,
like gangbusters.
And we have Batman who's now proposing. He's putting himself into that situation. So that's super interesting, but I don't think it has anything to do with why Tom King wanted to do that. I think it's just something he wanted to try out.
Yeah, as I think he said on Twitter, he's like, so many writers have run great material out of, like, piling more misery and more tragedy into the life of Batman. I wanted to go the other way by bringing in some light and some hopefulness.
Right. So it's like...
Which ain't a bad idea.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I did have a couple of issues. I mean, other than, like, again, just processing what this means for Batman and wondering where it's going to take him. I did have some issues with, like, Tom King's Batman's take on Alfred.
Yeah.
Like, that kind of baffled me a little bit.
It was a very shitty thing to say that he said.
Yeah. Actually, like, Sal was just recently, back issue spoiler for the future, talking about I Am Gotham, which was, interestingly enough, I did not read most of I Am Gotham. I just picked up with I Am Suicide and went on from there. So I was interested to finally get the backstory on that. But, like, Alfred in that, like, is not seemingly the Alfred he describes in this.
Not at all, yeah.
So, like, that is, like, it's perplexing to me, and I don't know if that's just, like, we see Batman with, like, a skewed version of reality. We see Batman questioning things based on what happened through the button. Like, I don't know.
It's it's a very Tom King thing where it's like, isn't he, like, so much more human and relatable? Look how shitty he is in his own mind. And I'm like, Tom King, if I didn't know any better, I'd say you're stealthily taking the piss out of Batman at every turn.
Right? Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if this, like... Because, of course, in I Am Gotham, like King established that it's Gotham Girl who kills Batman, and, like, I question what that meant, and I
Is it literal or figurative?
Right, exactly. And, of course, it has to be her, like, standing here with him. You know what I mean? Like, is this it? Is this what's going to, spur that on? Is it the, like, no, like, Batman hung up the cowl. I don't know. Like, technically, we kind of saw that at the end of the last Batman movie.
Yeah, we did, and everyone loved that, right? Didn't everyone love it? Hell, even in Injustice, the Catwoman ending, hilariously, is Catwoman and Batman getting married, having fun for a little bit, but eventually Selina being like, "Yeah, I'm bored now, going back to stealing. Bye." This was so much more fun with masks and, a bunch of, like, underlying sadosexual stuff we were doing.
Right. And it makes me interested to, like, I don't know enough about what Tom King thinks of Catwoman as a character, because, yes, she did crop up, but it wasn't, like, a true, like, in-depth character study of it. We did have that little, like, in-between thing, but, like, I don't know. But, like, will this Catwoman be like, no way. Like, are you kidding me? Like, You're just trying to put me in a cage. It's just a different cage.
And this is what I was thinking here, because obviously, you know, the wheels in my head started turning. I'm like, man, we haven't had a good, like, superhero wedding and marriage story since, like, Deadpool. What if this is, like, a big, long con for Selina Kyle, her greatest heist ever? I'm going to make you not sign a prenup, then divorce you and take half your shit, half your cape and cowl, half the bat cave.
Like, I'm taking the giant penny.
It's mine now. I got it in the divorce. Wouldn't that just be amazing?
Right?
Imagine a divorced Batman.
Right. All right, here's the thing. Do you think he told Alfred before doing it?
Oh, God, no.
Because,
he didn't tell anybody.
How crappy is that? Like, that is so crappy to not tell him.
So you're not going to lead me down the aisle, Alfred? Is that a no?
Right? Right? Like, I could just see him packing up his stuff, being like, you don't, you don't get it.
And then it got even better, because I'm trying to think of all the other people he could tell. Imagine, like, Superman, I want you to be the best man at my wedding. No, I do not approve of this union. Dick, be my best man. You're already dating a reformed supervillain, so you have to do it. Oh, I was your second choice after Superman?
Exactly. Exactly. That's it. You know, that's what the War of Jokes and Riddles is about. It's just the Riddler and Joker trying to decide who's going to be the best man.
Is it going to be, groom side, bride side? Where do we sit?
Exactly.
I don't.
Exactly.
And then Damien will be great too. You're not my real mom, Selina. Slam door.
Yeah, right? Yeah, she's not going to take any of that. She's not going to. And then, like, what is she going to have? Pam's going to come over and hang out at the cave sometimes, or like, this is like the ramifications of this. Like, can they have a real life? Or is it just Catwoman marrying Batman? Is it Selina marrying Bruce? Like, what is it?
Can we have a life away from this city without masks?
Right? Do they want
I don't think
that?
so, honestly.
Yeah.
I think it's doomed to fail much in the same way pretty much all superhero marriages are doomed to fail at some point. I mean, you can wring some good storylines out of it, but eventually the status quo is always returned to. And as many people are saying, most of Batman's love interests over the years have either left him, died, gone crazy, or a combination of all three.
Right? No, it's true. It's true. I don't know. I feel like the obvious answer for me is for her to say no. Like, just no. Like, that's never going to work. You know it. I know it. I don't know why you're doing this right now, but, like, this isn't what's going to fix you.
Yeah. And as someone in the chat brought up, isn't Selina still technically on the run for those murders she didn't commit? Yes, she is.
We'll just wave that away.
That means a thing, too. That means when Selina has to pick her, like, maid of honor, it's going to be Holly Robinson, the one who stabbed Batman.
That won't be weird. Hey, sorry I stabbed you. That's cool.
Hey, Holly, would you like some wedding cake?
No, clearly they would just have to elope. Like, they can't do a thing. They can't have the big wedding.
I want a big soap opera superhero wedding is what I want. I want a wedding issue. So,
like, do you think, I mean, like, here's the thing. Like, if he is in love with her, that's his love, that's his joy, that's, you know what I mean? Like, that's not my call. It's not my place to judge, right? But, like, could you imagine, like, Batman being, or, like, Alfred being like, would you seriously bring this woman home to meet your parents? Like, could you imagine if the Waynes were alive meeting Selina Kyle?
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, like, so I'm sorry, you do what exactly?
I'm in the import-export business, mostly importing into my pockets.
Right, okay, yeah, no. Overall, I thought it was interesting that they used art shifts to kind of balance out the then and now kind of elements to the story. Interesting to see Clayman art like up against Finch's. Like, that's kind of cool.
It's quite the juxtaposition.
Yeah, it really is. Gotham Girl into this, like, I know she said she was better, but like she seemed super immature and off. Yeah.
But then again, wasn't she always is the thing? They kind of have like this whole, we missed out on our childhood thing.
Right.
Our parents didn't die. We robbed ourselves of our own childhood to try and become superheroes.
Right? Yeah. So, you know, like, I'm interested to see, like, that could just be, like, look, that could just be her, like, trying to have a nice time and trying to make, like, some sort of levity out of, you know, the situation and like the incredible decision that she has to make. I definitely see her being like kind of nervous to do that, because I mean, like, yeah, she's committing to something, or it's just like, am I gonna be a superhero or am I not? And like, honestly, his superhero, or her version of being a superhero, could potentially kill her. Although I appreciate Batman being like, finally, like, I have to train you, because I really messed up with that last time.
It's true. Well, it's funny. I'm glad you mentioned that, Tiff, because I actually thought they drew a nice parallel between Batman and Gotham Girl, where she's like, you know, I could be a god for a few minutes, but every time I use my powers to fight crime, I'll die. This will be the death of me if I choose to do it. And Batman's kind of like, it'll be the death of me too. It'll be the death of all of us, really, that we keep doing this. And I'm like, wow, harsh, but correct.
Right? And like, again, like I do think that this is King utilizing what has just recently happened to Batman, again, meeting his father, even though it's from another like universe, essentially, or timeline, or whatever you want to call it, without him saying it out loud.
Definitely.
Because like, here's the thing, like, as much as like I kind of enjoy this, like, again, this issue, like, I don't know if I agree with what Tom King's saying. It is well done, and it certainly is making me think, which I think is the mark of any like good story, in a way, whether you agree with it or not. If it makes you think and it makes you question and it makes you, you know what I mean, like, you know, delve into like deeper concepts, like that's great. It's
the most I've enjoyed his character essay stuff yet, where in the other stuff, like I Am Suicide and all this other stuff, I'm like, nope, full stop, don't agree, moving on. Right,
which it kind of
this I'm willing to think about.
Right. And it just seems like this is all he wanted to get to, and so I kind of appreciate, I guess, like him, like, I don't know if I appreciate him stretching it out or not, but I know like there was timing on certain things. I'm certain, with like, we have to be at this point for like this, you know, we like for the button or whatever, like, I'm sure. But I do kind of wish that, and I hope maybe we will, but like, I would like to see Bruce talk to Alfred about seeing his dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, sure, Bruce knew his dad, but Alfred knew him longer.
True.
You know, so I feel like if you're going to talk to somebody about what happened, like, it should be Alfred. And I just, like, I don't sense that style of relationship in King's Alfred and Bruce. Even though Alfred seems to be in on that.
A little bit. So, they're like, definitely a little colder and distanter.
But, like, Alfred seems to be a little bit more like, hey, yeah, like, I will dress up like you. I will put myself in harm's way for you. Like, absolutely. And, like, I don't... Bruce doesn't seem to be there, and I think he may be more distant now than ever, based on what happened. So
yeah, Batman, why you gotta be so emotionally distant?
Yeah, right?
How can you get married if you're this emotionally distant from your father figure?
He's like, well, I can't, like I can bang her.
Alfred, not so much.
Yeah, like, that's really what Batman
is. Not a fan of silver foxes, never have been.
No, that's not for him. He needs to get some. Again, like, I'm interested to see where this goes. I am wondering what we'll get out of War of Jokes and Riddles. If we'll get hints, if we'll get, like, just straight up, like, this is what she said.
Yeah.
Like, how will they, you know...
She says no, and Batman is so heartbroken he has to have a 2-month-long flashback for the rest of the summer.
Oh, yeah. No, that's true. I'm sorry. I forgot it was a flashback. So, yeah, I guess we're just gonna wait.
Yes.
Or, like, editorials over there like, what did you just do? Why did we say yes to this?
It is kind of funny, though. Like I said, it's a Who Shot JR, really month-long mystery where it's like, what did she say? I don't know. You'll have to find out in a couple months, won't you?
Right? And here's the thing. That's kind of cool. Like, DC's been doing a pretty good job, except that, of course, this, like, was spoiled. Like, but DC has been doing a really good job of not letting that spoilers come out, like, you know, too far ahead of time. So as much as I do want to know, I do hope that they keep it under wraps and let it happen naturally.
Speaking of spoilers and spoiler culture, you know what I absolutely loved is that when this was going around the internet, and we all saw it, we work on the internet, we live here, we do our stuff, it was surprise Batman number 24, Batman marries, then like in bracket spoiler. And I'm like, I don't think he should be marrying spoiler. She's way too young. That's not right. What part of the South did they have to go to make that happen?
Right. And also, like, dude, I don't know if you read Detective. She is not a fan right now.
No, man. He must have worked some amazing magic to get her back on his side. Jesus.
Exactly. I don't know what he said, but we better find out. And maybe we'll put like the 10 tips in Glamour next time about how to best win over a Bat character.
Man, Batman number 24 is going to be one hell of an issue. I better read the shit.
Right? You know what was really funny to me, just like with the art shifts in general? Like, Clayman has a very different idea of what Batman's physique looks like. As opposed to Finch's. Like Finch's, like, he does seem to have a bit more muscularity than I've seen in
he's
previous,
Jack, brother
like,
Jack.
A little bit more so, but like Man's has like an almost Dark Knight feel to the way he does the cowl, and I don't know if it's slightly shorter ears. I don't know what it is, but there's just something about it that I was
looks more like a guy in a costume.
Yeah, a little bit. But you know, I mean, like, I don't know, like I kind of dig it. Could somebody tell me, and I don't remember when this is, but when we were talking about I Am Gotham and like his belt, right? Like he had just a straight up kind of black belt with just like the yellow on the buckle, which I wasn't a fan of in that. And in this, he's back to the like kind of original like Capullo Snyder with like almost the fang-like belt that like, but it's more yellow. And I must have missed when that happened because like I was kind of annoyed by just the black or the yellow belt buckle. I'm like, it's either all yellow or not.
I think they subtly change his belt all the time to see if people will notice.
Well, I did this time. I did. Give me my cookie.
Tiff noticed the hell out of it.
I know you got bat cookies in that belt. We all know it.
Bat cookies.
Just give it to me. They would like.
Hey, Batman never knows. His blood sugar might be low. He might need a little pick.
You know, who knows? He could run into a diabetic. That's absolutely right. That's absolutely correct. You know what I mean? Sometimes Damian gets cranky, more so. It's hard to tell because he pretty much is that all the time.
All the time. Deploy bat juice box and cookie.
Yeah, exactly. He settles down. He doesn't want them, but he settles down.
Talk about Damian being cranky. What is it? Flash Wally West has a pacemaker now because Damian Wayne heart punched him back in time. That's how Lazarus' contract ended, in case you're wondering.
What?
Yes, Damian Wayne, they opened up a portal to try and warn their past selves about what Deathstroke was doing, and Damian's like, this is taking too long, I know how to make this work. Hey, Wally, young Wally, come over here, a heart punch. Oh yeah, I just gave him a near-death experience, and that will ripple throughout time, and in doing so, Deathstroke will never get the Speed Force. He's right, but then future Wally's like, ow, my chest hurts. Oh, I have a pacemaker now. Thanks, Damian. I can't run as fast anymore or I'll die. Yeah.
Joel, can you like, do me a huge favor and like literally never read a time travel comic again?
I know, right? Why do they always come to me?
just don't.
Why do they always end up on my pile all the time?
Don't. No. No.
Hey, it's on my description. It's what happened. It's not like I made it happen. It's not like I willed it into existence.
No, I'm starting to think you did. It was for that Kang baby thing. So okay, that was Batman 24. We will have to wait to find out the ramifications of this issue, but I think in the meantime, I think it could spark some really great conversation. I think there are going to be people who like this. I think there are people who hate this.
Oh, yes.
As long as everybody keeps it civil, I don't think there's anything wrong with those kinds of discussion, as long as everybody's friendly and kind. And
there's a lot of good discussion I've been hearing so far.
I hope it stays that way because, again, this is just one of those things where it's a status quo change, question mark, maybe, who knows, and we don't know what stories this could bring. It could be good or it could be bad, and we're just going to have to wait to find out. And that's what comics are all about.
The cynic in me would give it 6 months, but it's probably going to be closer to 8 because, again, we got that 2-month break in between.
Right, exactly. So we'll have to see what happens. I don't know. I don't know. Again, like, this is... I'm still not, like, fully... haven't really formed an opinion on this just because of just... I don't know. I read it yesterday, and I still am like... Okay, but what did this do, and do I care? I don't know yet.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. with this. Just before we go real quick, I'm not going to go over it too much because we're kind of over time already, but just so you guys know, Extremity number 4 and Reborn number 6 came out this week, so if you're still looking for your Greg Capullo art fix, go over, check that out. Because that series is amazing, and if you're looking for him to be drawing Batman-like action, that's where you're going to get it right now. Well, for now, until, of course, he goes back to it. And Extremity number 4, I'm still enjoying this book. I still love the world building that's going on with it. Just crazy, cool. I used to say, it was Studio Ghibli means, Mad Max, because that's kind of how they were describing it, and I liked it, but now I'm going to also throw in some Fooly Cooly in a way, and you'll know why if you like that show and are reading this book. So, that's it. I'm not going to really go into it, because like I said, we're kind of over time already, but before we go, Joel, what do you got coming out?
Well, if you head on over to the channel right now, you can hear my Wonder Woman spoiler cast. I also have videos up for Brave New World and Batman number 24 if you want to check those. And I got a bunch more videos coming from throughout the week, which I do.
That's awesome. Now, when you do Brave New World, do you start singing it, A Whole New World, but with Brave New World?
A dazzling place I never do. If I keep singing this song, Disney will sue.
That's right. No, you gotta parody it. You gotta parody it.
It's a transformative work. Leave me alone, mouse.
That's right. There you go. Over on Comic Pop, while we didn't have a standard off the rack at the beginning of the week, you could check out Sal and I talking about Wonder Woman, what we thought about it, our review of that. That was awesome. Good chat. Also, the resurrection of our Powers series with Venom. Powers, if you're wondering what the powers of Venom are, you go find that out in less than 3 minutes. Sal takes you through a bunch of that. And then also, Back Issues was released yesterday evening. It's Batman versus the Incredible Hulk. It is a crossover classic. Marvel, DC, 2 Bruces coming together, doing some stuff, being Bruce-tacular. So that's also awesome. Go check it out. And I'm sure Elseworlds Exchange will be released tomorrow. You guys talked about DC Rebirth, if it's an event or not?
Yes. We're tackling some more heady issues. In the last couple episodes of Elseworlds Exchange. I think people will like it. And also, too, hey, if you want to listen to this show and carry it around with you, I was sure to link everyone to the brand new Pull SoundCloud. Every week people say, where's the show? Where can we listen to it? Where can we download it? There it is.
Yeah, we're actually on all kinds of things. I know we are on SoundCloud. It is technically, I think, on iTunes, and I believe it might also be on Google Play. I can't remember that.
With the Pull?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Should be.
I was correct on that. So there's plenty of places you could just go and listen to us. If you don't want to look at our faces, I totally get it. I get it. We make faces. It happens.
It's a lot to take in.
If you just want the audio version of it, that's cool. Go check it out. Hang out over there. And also don't forget, if you would like to hang out with everyone from the Weekly Pull outside of the live shows, you can head over to the Discord. There will be a link in here. It's been linking throughout the show. You can head over there, join up with the community, hang out, chat, talk comics, talk other things. There's all kinds of chats in that Discord. So you could just do that.
Fit every taste.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Just go do it. You're not doing it fast enough. The show is ending and you're not over there. Don't forget, of course, to come back every Tuesday for the Weekly Pull, the show that talks about comic book news, pop culture news, just all kinds of stuff that are going on that's pretty cool that everybody's got an opinion about. And every Thursday we talk about the comics that came out that previous Wednesday. So if you want to chat about that, you head on over on those 2 times. They're usually around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah. And that's that. I got nothing else. This stream's over. The show is over.
You nailed it. You heart punched us with information.
I did. I gave you a pacemaker in the future. Please don't blame me for that. If anyone has a pacemaker in the future, this wasn't my fault.
You know, we keep thinking we need our own version of Rob's splooge thing for whenever someone subs for a long time. I'm thinking heart punch needs to be ours now. Oh, heart punch.
Right?
Man.
I totally agree. All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us today or in the future if you're watching this on the YouTube, which, of course, you can head over to, I think it's the Weekly Pull YouTube channel itself. Just give it a search. It'll come up. You find the Weekly Pull archive there. You can find the Pull on there. It's just all over in that zone. It's just in the Weekly Pull zone there. But we will see you guys next time. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Bye-bye.